Hey, movie fans, and welcome to 2026. That is so weird to say out loud, but with a new year comes a new slate of potential movie releases, and it seems like this year in particular, at least at the box office, this really could be a boom or a bust year. There's a lot of movies on paper that could get the box office to where it used to be, but at the same time, there's a lot of risk here. There's still a lot of titles that I'm looking forward to, but I'm very curious to see how 2026 all shapes out because, like I said, I think it's going to be either boom or bust. But what about the movies that I'm most looking forward to specifically? Well, today I'm going to give you my top 10 most anticipated movies for 2026. But before we get into it, I want to hear from you guys. What are your most hyped or anticipated movies for this coming year? What are the movies that you think are probably going to flop that you're still kind of looking forward to? Or what are the ones that you think are going to utterly crash and burn? Whatever your thoughts, let me know down in the comments below as I hear from you guys. Without further ado, let me give you my two honorable mentions before we get into the top 10, and that is the Mando and Grogu movie and Project Hail Mary. Now, I have liked The Mandalorian for the most part. I think it's got some flaws, but overall, I like it. That being said, it does feel like the franchise is kind of losing steam a little bit, and I am kind of curious what the direction for this movie will be. I was very underwhelmed by that initial first trailer. It just kind of seemed like random footage. It didn't give us any clear indication of what the actual narrative would be for the movie. That being said, I didn't need everything to be spoiled for me. I just have my reservations about it. I'm looking forward to it, but I don't know. It feels like Disney kind of needed to have a live action Star Wars movie come out because it hadn't had one since Rise of Skywalker. And they're just like, just put this one in theaters because it feels kind of weird. I want to be excited for it, but I'm cautious about it. On the flip side, Project Hail Mary, I know it's based off a book. I have not read it. I know it's by the same guy that did The Martian. I love The Martian. I was initially reluctant. It was one of those movies that people were like, oh, you got to see it. And you kind of don't just out of begrudging, well, everybody tells me to see it, so I'm not gonna. Then I finally watched it, and it's amazing. So I was very hyped when I saw the trailer. And then I kept seeing the trailer over and over and over again. I feel like I have seen the trailer for Project Hail Mary so much, and it's the same trailer. I love Ryan Gosling. I like Drew Goddard a lot. I believe he's the one writing the script for this. I'm super on board for Project Hail Mary based off of how many times I've seen that initial trailer, but it doesn't crack my top 10. Kicking off the top 10, though, is DC Studios' Clayface. I am so intrigued at the prospect of this movie for so many different reasons. First and foremost, I'm a big horror guy as well as a big comic book guy. So them doing a full-fledged R-rated horror movie, a body horror in this new DC Studios era, I am all on board with. I think that's an interesting direction to go. Are there other characters that I would have liked to see get standalone movies first? Sure, but given that this story originally came from the mind of one of my favorite directors working today with Mike Flanagan, it's hard to be mad about that. I don't believe Flanagan is necessarily as attached to the project as he was when it first got announced. I think someone else is writing and directing now. Just going off the strength of the name Flanagan alone, I am on board with this. I like horror. I like my DC comics. I'm curious to see the melding of the two. Next at number 9, I have Dune Part 3, which to my knowledge, they haven't officially labeled as Dune Messiah yet, but it's probably going to be Dune Messiah. I have really enjoyed the first 2 Dunes up till this point. I didn't think I would. It's another one of those, okay, it just looks like a sci-fi franchise, but I've been consistently blown away by Denis Villeneuve's just direction. The cast for both movies has been phenomenal. I am curious though. I have a coworker who is a big Dune head, and they've read Dune Messiah, and from what they've told me, stuff's about to get real weird real fast. So I'm kind of curious to see how Denis going to adapt that, because there's some heady concepts in the first 2 Dune movies, and apparently it's going to get even more bonkers for Messiah, and I'm just curious how that's all going to play out. I really like what we've gotten from Dune. Denis Villeneuve, I think, is one of the greatest directors working today. I think Prisoners is super underrated. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. But yeah, I'm all on board for Dune, and it's, the movie that's coming out at the end of December that I'm more looking forward to. Spoiler alert, Avengers Doomsday isn't on my list here. I'm more worried about that than excited. I want to be excited for Avengers Doomsday, but as it stands, I'm more excited for Dune's Day in theaters. I'm sorry, it had to happen. Next at number 8 is one that I'm actually kind of surprised to see on this list, but when I was looking at all the movies come out in 2026, I was like, yeah, there's no denying I'm super looking forward to Violent Night 2. The first Violent Night kind of came out of nowhere and was such a pleasant surprise when I watched that for the first time. It has this like Die Hard / John Wick meets Santa Claus, which I am so on board with. It ended up having a ton of heart, ton of great action, and it's become one of those like modern Christmas classics for me in such a short span of time. I like David Harbour as Saint Nick, and I would like to see more of this world. They introduced some interesting lore to it that I want to see further explored in the second one. I don't know if we're going this route, but please, please, please give us Santa versus Krampus and have them both be like ancient brothers from the before times when we got the flashbacks to what Saint Nick did before he became Santa Claus. Give us flashbacks. Maybe they were like feuding brothers and they're on the opposite side. Oh, please. That would be awesome. Just a drag out bloody fight between Santa and Krampus in the Violent Night universe. I'm all on board. This is a dumb franchise, but in the best possible way that I really hope continues that fun tradition. Next, at number 7, I have the other DC Studios movie release for 2026 with Supergirl. I absolutely adored James Gunn's Superman. It was one of my favorite movies of 2025, and I am a huge fan of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, the comic that this movie is heavily based off of. But this time, like how Superman was originally called Superman Legacy, this was Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. They've just dropped it to Supergirl. I think that's the right choice here. I'm looking forward to this. The only thing that makes me kind of go, okay, is I wasn't necessarily blown away by that first trailer. It felt very Guardians of the Galaxy. It felt very safe, whereas that first Superman trailer absolutely blew me away. It seemed off the bat, this is the unique tone that we're going for. Where Supergirl, it kind of felt like other things that we had seen. I'm still very much looking forward to this movie. I think Millie Alcock is going to be fantastic as Supergirl. I think if you read the comic, the actual story behind it is fantastic, and the direction of why Supergirl is so different than Superman is going to play excellent on the big screen. Plus, more crypto is always a good thing. Plus, Lobo looked amazing in that first trailer. I'm like, oh, please just give me more Lobo, and then maybe a Lobo movie just all by himself. I'm really looking forward to this movie. I have some reservations, but that's just because I was underwhelmed by that first trailer. I think overall, the movie's still going to be a ton of fun and another good step in the right direction for the new DC universe. At number 6, I don't normally love unnecessary sequels, but when you put Aaron Sorkin involved, yeah, I'm going to be a little bit more on board with The Social Reckoning, also known as The Social Network 2. It's going to be like a sequel to that Facebook movie with Jesse Eisenberg. I don't care. Aaron Sorkin is one of my favorite writers and directors to this day. Like Moneyball, fantastic. I absolutely love Moneyball, but also The Trial of the Chicago 7. If you have not seen that, it's criminally underrated. It's such a good movie. His dialogue and his way of just crafting a narrative is so good that when I was looking at the list of movies this year, I'm like, oh, Aaron Sorkin's got one coming out this year? Of course, I'm going to be all in on this. Plus, in this technology age that we live in, it is kind of just creepy to see the rise of Facebook and the power that it has. So I would like to see a continuation of The Social Network of just like, oh yeah, well that was the foundation. Look how royally screwed up everything is now because of the spread of this. I don't care what the actual story will be this time around. You just say Aaron Sorkin, and he's one of those names like Mike Flanagan that has my unbridled trust of you could just basically put out whatever, and I'm going to be excited for it. So that alone puts The Social Reckoning on my list at number 6. Next, at number 5, I've got the Super Mario Galaxy movie. I was so pleasantly surprised by the Super Mario Brothers movie. It was so fun and cute and endearing, and it was such a good representation of the Mario universe. I know some critics had their weird nitpicks. I'm just like, it's a Mario movie. It was a perfect representation of the source material. You hate fun. I just want a dumb, fun movie every once in a while. Plus, you had me hook, line, and sinker at the end of the last Super Mario movie when you teased Yoshi would be there. I'm like, okay, I'm sold. Yoshi is the best. And my first actual video game was Yoshi's Island, so I'm immediately on board. Where can I buy everything for this movie? Plus, you add in the whole Mario Galaxy element, which is one of my favorite games on the Wii. I think this movie has a lot of potential. I do think it's interesting that the trailers aren't really showing their hand a whole lot. They're not giving too much away here. There's a lot of mystery and a lot of secrets behind locked walls here. And I'm like, okay, this could either be great or a big swing and a miss. But it also makes me very, very curious. if we're already going the Mario Galaxy direction for the second one, where do we go from here? I don't want to get my hopes up for a Super Smash Bros. Movie, but come on, that would be kind of awesome. Next at number 4 is what is now being labeled as the final installment in one of my actually favorite and most underrated franchises going right now with the Jumanji movies. Basically Jumanji 3 or Jumanji 4, however you want to look at it. I actually really like these movies. I'm not the biggest fan of The Rock, especially in recent years, but there's something about his character as well as the ensemble cast. The ensemble cast just really make these movies work. I like Karen Gillan. I like Jack Black. I like Nick Jonas. I like basically everyone in these movies. The characters are so endearing, and it's that swashbuckling adventure that we just frankly don't get enough of nowadays. I love movies like the Errol Flynn Robin Hood or the 1999 Mummy. It's what I wanted Uncharted to be. I love National Treasure. Give me big, over-the-top treasure hunt or adventure movies. And give me a halfway decent score, and I'm gonna be on board with those movies. I enjoy these Jumanji movies so much, and I am actually very disappointed to see that this is the final one. I really enjoy Jumanji. I'm always game for more. It kind of came out of nowhere, and I didn't expect them to be as good as they are, but they're ones that I'm always looking forward to when they do come out. So yeah, Jumanji 3 or Jumanji 4, whichever you want to call this, the final one, but we'll see if they hold true to that or not. Next at number 3, Christopher Nolan had to be on here somewhere, and I know a lot of people are going to have this at their number 1, but for me, it's my number 3 with The Odyssey. Now, I've had an interesting journey with Christopher Nolan. The Dark Knight is the movie that really got me into movies. It's one of those that like changed my life and made me want to invest a lot more time and energy into the world of movies. It's just fantastic. Then he had Inception, which was incredible. And then for a while there, I kind of had this like love-hate relationship. Hate's a strong word, but an interesting relationship with Nolan. I didn't necessarily always connect with his movies. Interstellar was kind of to me. Dunkirk was kind of Tenet was a movie that I saw. His stuff wasn't as good as it used to be, and also Prestige still to this day doesn't get the love and attention that it deserves. But Nolan for me was like, oh man, did he kind of lose the sauce a little bit? And then Oppenheimer came out, and I'm like, oh, that's the guy. That's the guy that made The Dark Knight. He was in there the whole time. I loved Oppenheimer. On paper, I did not see the vision. I was like, you're going to make a movie about the guy that created the atomic bomb? Okay, that's the most like dad movie ever. And guess what? He made the most dad movie ever, but it's amazing. The ensemble cast was outstanding. The cinematography was amazing. That basically gave him carte blanche to do whatever he wanted to do next, and I'd be on board. And the Odyssey looks outstanding. Like, I like that they're not necessarily giving everything away in the trailers, but they're showing just enough that I'm going, oh, okay, I am on board with this. The cast, once again, like Oppenheimer, seems ridiculously stacked, and I'm so excited. You have Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, John Bernthal, Mia Goth. Oh, just yes. Plus, I'm curious to see Christopher Nolan tackle the mythical and the fantastical elements of the Odyssey in his grounded and practical way that he's known to do. I'm so curious to see how those two very distinct styles are going to blend together. If they blend together, if it all works out the way I think it could, we could be looking at a generational movie like we got with Oppenheimer. Next at number 2 is a movie that, I'll be honest, I almost didn't put on this list because I kind of forgot that it was coming out in 2026. Then when I was doing my research for this video, I did one last pass of movies coming out this year, and I was like, oh, I almost forgot about this. That would have been very bad because I am beyond hyped for Godzilla Minus Zero, the sequel to Godzilla Minus One. Guys, Godzilla Minus One absolutely blew me away. I had seen some of the Godzilla movies. I'd seen the original. I'd seen any of the newer American ones, even the Matthew Broderick American one. And I was like, okay, it's fine. I didn't see, based off the trailers, what made this Godzilla different from like the older Godzillas or Shin Godzilla, and I was like, it's whatever. I'm not the biggest Godzilla fan, but everyone was clamoring about how good Minus One was. So I finally watched it, and I was like, yeah, everyone was right. This kind of is something special. So ever since I saw it, I was like, I need more. I need Minus Zero, because what they did with basically nothing, they created a genuine monster masterpiece. It was so good. Yes, the kaiju action is amazing, but it's all about the character work, which is what a Godzilla movie should be. Godzilla is the great accent piece. And oh man, -1 was so good. I don't care what they do. I am beyond hyped for -0 just to spend more time in this world, spend more time with these characters that you've set up, with the consequences that you've set up from -1. I'm just 1,000% on board. Plus, just looking at how they treated Godzilla, I'm so curious and hyped to see how they treat the rest of the monsters in that universe. Which only leaves my number one most anticipated movie of 2026, because it's a character that I will always love and cherish, Spider-Man with Spider-Man Brand New Day. I have been a Tom Holland fan from the get-go. I don't think his tenure has always been perfect. There's some movies that I'm still just kind of like about, specifically Far From Home, but I'm a big defender of Spider-Man Homecoming. I absolutely adored No Way Home. His stuff in Civil War is still some of my favorite Spider-Man anything. And at the end of No Way Home, I was never more looking forward to a Spider-Man movie than that. That ending with him swinging with the new suit in the snow genuinely made me cry in the theater, and I got the next available showing of the movie the very next morning. I was so blown away by No Way Home. I absolutely loved it. I understand now the arc that he went through in that trilogy, and it kind of makes me appreciate Far From Home more. Just his journey to getting to be the Spider-Man that we know and love. Now he is the Spider-Man that we know and love. And guys, holy crap, that suit is literally perfect. I know some people have some nitpicks about the web shooters, but I don't care. That suit, I want to hug the suit. Just the suit. I don't care if Tom Holland's in it or not. That suit is fantastic. It is ripped right out of a comic. And just the fact that this story feels like it's going to be a grounded, street-level Spider-Man story, something we have been clamoring for the longest time for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Plus, add on the fact that it's going to be Daniel Destin Cretton, the guy that directed Shang-Chi, which I think is fantastic and one of the standout movies post Endgame that I feel like we need to give more credit to. And come on, just put Shang-Chi in literally any Marvel movie. We have not seen him since his standalone movie, and we've kind of forgotten about the character, and it was fantastic. I love Shang-Chi so much. We're getting a new Spider-Man movie by the guy that gave us those fight scenes and that character work with that character in a grounded story, a street level story. Plus, he keeps teasing that we're going to get actual recreations of comic book panels. So if we're getting moments from the comics in real life, oh yes, please, there will be happy tears in my seat. Everything we're hearing about Brand New Day seems like a generationally special version of Spider-Man. It feels like the Spider-Man that people that aren't Tom Holland fans have been wanting for a long time. That's what they've been wanting from the character from the get-go. Whereas me, I've liked the character, but I'm ready to see him take that next step. What is the next evolution of his Spider-Man? What's the next trilogy going to look like for him? I am beyond excited. Yes, I am leaps and bounds more excited for this than I am Doomsday. I am still incredibly nervous about Doomsday. That being said, as soon as that first trailer drops, I know I'm going to be just as excited as everybody else. But as it stands right now, I'm more excited for Spider-Man just because of who's attached to it. It seems to be much more solely focused on an individual hero. I trust the director a whole lot more. Plus, it seems more like a fresh start as opposed to rehashing characters and franchises that are a lot older. But what do you guys think? What are your most anticipated movies of 2026? What movies do you think are going to be the big hits and the big misses? Whatever your thoughts, let me know down in the comments below. As I like hearing from you guys. And as always, if you like what you see and want to see more, subscribe to the channel and stay sharp, movie guys and gals.